Welcome to another mini masterclass. Today I want to share with you guys two things that changed my life: being disciplined and posting content on the internet. And I want to share this with you, and after this video you're going to know exactly how to replicate the same thing. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I know for a fact that there is someone who has been living and thinking exactly how I used to think, thinking it was never possible but wanting to make that change. This is for you, and I want you to listen very carefully. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandon, also known as Sunwa. And for those that don't know what Sunwa is actually my Chinese middle name. So I'm actually half Chinese and half Colombian for you guys that don't know. And the reason I use Sunwa is because growing up, I was born and raised in London. And even being raised in such a diverse place, being Chinese at the time was something that got a lot of criticism. And there was a rough time in my life where my parents had to make the decision from when we were living in our flat to now move and live underneath a Chinese takeaway. Now, being at the age or just going into secondary school, I wasn't really aware, and I was completely fine with the decision until I reached secondary school. Until I reached secondary school, I started to realize that there is a lot of pressure here, and I just wanted to fit in. And I feel like growing up through most of my childhood, I continued having the same mentality that I did being in secondary school and entering my adulthood. So I was very insecure, very full of doubt, and for pretty much most of my life, I was just coasting. I just kept myself to myself. But deep down, I was very to myself, but I wanted to make changes, but I just didn't know how. And I didn't want anyone to look at me different, or I didn't really want to stand out because I didn't want that pressure put onto me, because I just didn't know how to handle it. So the reason I used the name Sunwa was because growing up now and being aware, I feel ashamed that I neglected that side of me, and it reminds me that I never used to believe in myself. I was so ashamed of myself that I pretended to not be who I was. I pretended to be someone else, and I literally rejected myself. And then I promised myself that the very thing I was ashamed of, I was going to use that motivation to create someone I was proud of. And today, I have over 90 million people watching me every single month. This month alone, I've managed to get over 120,000 followers and managed to impact millions of lives. Now, this has always been a dream of mine, but I just didn't know how to do it. And I knew that I did want to do social media, and I knew that I wanted to make an impact, but it was always a doubt: where do you start? Now, this is exactly what I want to share with you guys, because a lot of the times we want to skip stages. We want to go from one point, we want to go to the other point, we want to go to the top of the staircase without taking our first step. Now, how do you take your first step? There are 4 stages for the 2 things I'm going to share with you. There is a realization stage, and you're probably at that point where you realize that you have to make stages, you have to make changes. Then the realization change starts with the application stage, where now you start to realize that you have to make changes and you start to apply these things. The second one is now a consistency stage, where these things that you realize that you have to make, these changes that you have to make, they now become habits, because the position that you are in today is because you are a construct of your habits, the daily actions that you do, the things that are on autopilot, which is giving you that automatic daily life that you are living. Now, the third one is now mastery. It's consistency and mastery. Mastery is now perfecting those same habits, because what tends to happen is we become impatient and we want to start doing other things. Most of the time you guys are doing the right things, but you get impatient, which is why patience is power, and then you try to move on to something else and you end up going nowhere. The person that goes everywhere goes nowhere. So we try to help you stick to the plan. That is the most important thing. Now, the fourth one is now transcendence. Transcendence is the part where you now start to inspire people by the person who you are, because your habits are now a reflection of what people want to see, and they know that they can become that person just if they implement the same things that person done before, for them to become the person they want to be. Understand exactly what I'm saying? Now, with that same structure, you now copy that and you paste it into the personal brand, the growing your social media presence. So why is it so important to do the discipline, which I just told you now, than the personal brand? Why is it more important to do the who, which is being disciplined, being consistent, making sure you do the things that you don't want to do regardless of how you feel, before you start focusing on creating social media? Because so many people come to me and they tell me, I want to do social media and I want to I want to start growing my followers and I just want to start the personal branding now. And I used to be that person. That is the worst thing that you can do, because the thing is, you're trying to rush something. You're trying to see quick results. Everyone is trying to offer you a quick fix, and whatever comes quick will go quick. And I tell you this from experience, because when I reached my first 100,000 followers, I thought it was luck. I got 100,000 followers in 10 days, but guess what? I was so overwhelmed that I didn't know how to manage it, that it ended up breaking me and I stopped posting videos. Why? Because I didn't condition the who enough to then follow the how. I could give you the exact blueprint. I can tell you, say this, do this, post this, don't do this, call to action, and I'll show you exactly how to make money online. But you won't be able to do that. Why? Because the who isn't there. You are not structured enough to do the things that you don't want to do regardless of how you feel. Because guess what? Right now, when you start the personal brand, you start any journey that you want, you start driving. And at the start, it seems easy. But guess what? Halfway point, there starts to be a bit of fog, it starts to rain, then now the weather starts to get a bit extreme. Now you start to panic because now you can't see 10 meters ahead of you. This is where most people fail. This is where most people miss. This is why I do not miss. The moment you learn to not miss, then you can go past that, then you will see the other side of it. And what is that section there is the Google Maps. What is the Google Maps? Your habits. Because the moment you start to get in your own feelings and you start to doubt yourself, because us as humans, we all have emotions. We all have doubt, we all have fear. Now the difference between me and you is that you listen to your doubts, you listen to your fears, you water it. But guess what? Faith is something that I operate with, because faith and fear, they both require you to believe in something that you cannot see. Living in fear is still having faith that something negative is going to happen. Now, when you instill these habits and you don't feel the best, where there will be days that you don't have the best, there'll be days that you have 20%, 10%, but you give 100% of that 10%. Then you go through, then you see that result. That's why the who is so important. That's why I condition you first to get these habits to get you that result. Because many people you see online, they don't care about you. I care about you, which is why I show up for you every single day on my stories, to show you that what I do is possible, because I live by it. How many coaches respond to all of their people? I answer every single one of my DMs. I don't have no AI automation, but I do it because I care about you guys. I post my free content because I care about you guys. This is the difference. I want you to see results, like the hundreds of people that I managed to get results for. These people just want your money. But guess what? What I used to do is I used to try to help everyone else, but you don't even want to help yourself. So for me to understand that you truly want help, I filter everyone out. Why? Because I know the value of my time. I can give you $100 and I can make $200 back. But I can give you 1 hour of my time and I will never get that back. I've spent so many years helping people that then within 2 weeks, oh no, I give up now. You don't want that change. If you want to start seeing results in your life, if you're tired of feeling stuck and procrastinating and not knowing what to do with your life, this is the moment for you to start making those changes. Build the who and transfer that skills, transcend what you've learned and make an impact to the world. Because guess what? That very transformation that you are trying to do, there are 1,000 others who will be inspired by your journey. Don't underestimate the impact that you can make. If you were to tell me, Brandon, you will make an impact in 10 years from now, I will never believe you. When I was doing the journey, I felt everything but I was gonna inspire people. I was alone with my thoughts, sad, crying, lost, didn't know where I was gonna go in life. But guess what? I decided to build enough confidence with myself to then go ahead and do it. But guess what? Sometimes you just want that clear path and know exactly what's going to happen. Life is like driving at night with headlights on. When you drive at night with headlights on, you only see 10 meters. But guess what? You still drive. Because as you go along, things will start to come along. Just try to think too much with logic. You guys are too smart for your own good. That logic is stopping you. When you operate with logic, some things don't make sense. Logically, you guys think too much. Sometimes things do not work with logic. Especially now, with trying to create your social media presence. You cannot operate with logic, because logically I was posting and only getting 20 likes and 100 views. But I kept on posting. I found the love in the process. I realized that the goal wasn't getting 100,000 followers. I realized the goal was making sure I posted content that was worthy enough of getting 100,000 followers. So within time, I managed to get the results. I managed to get the nearly 100 million views every single month. I managed to get over 100,000 followers every single month. Why? Because I create the person that didn't care about the results, but cared about the habits, the actions that create that results. Because logically, you can't control if someone is gonna like your video. Because logically, you can't control if someone's going to buy your service. But guess what you can do? You can post, and then guess what? You can have faith. I don't know if you believe in God, but I believe in a higher source. Because if you track back long enough, logically, the way we got here doesn't make sense. Everything is faith. Now, all you have to focus on is the things that you can control, which is why I tell you, become a person of action, which is why I will always tell you, we do not miss, because you're not worried about if you're going to get the result. You are so worried that one day you'll get frustrated, overwhelmed, you getting in your own way, your thoughts getting in your own way, that will stop you from taking the action, and that action will never let you get to that result because you'll stop taking action. But if you never miss, eventually you'll get there. But if you don't take action, you will never get there. This is what I condition you to do. Once you've got this, we start growing a social media presence. How? We document your journey. If you are someone who's disciplined already, there's been a part where you've overcome a problem in your life, you are not alone. I speak about my life and I speak about the problems I've overcome. To me, myself, I don't find it interesting. But that's because I have overcome that problem now and I'm living my life. But there are thousands of people, millions of people that you can inspire that are going through that situation which you've managed to overcome, that are just going through it. And they want to know, how did you do it? What can you advise me? This is the power of social media. This is the power of impact. Growing a meaningful community, making a difference. And then what you've applied to the who, you apply to the how. The same way with creating content, we learn that content is king. You go through the application stage, the realization stage. Then you go into the consistency stage. Once you become consistent and you learn to iterate, keep on doing the same thing, keep on improving, seeing the data, see what works, see how people are reacting to it. Then we go into mastery. Now we are seeing consistently those numbers go up. We hit our first 10,000 followers, our first 100,000 followers, our first 1 million views. Then we go into transcendence. The same way we help people to become the who, we help them become the how. The same way I managed to do it. This is what changed my life, and I'm sharing it with you guys. If you guys want to make those changes, if you guys want to impact, if you're so tired of living that same cycle every single day and expecting change to come, but you know that change will never come because you are not doing anything different, I hope you become accountable. I become that person that you lean on. And the reason you don't make changes is because you have no accountability towards self. You're living in the pain. You don't like the situation that you're in. Now, the reason you always give up is because when you tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna do it, you don't respect yourself. But if you respect me and you really think that I can help you, how long do you want to continue living that same life, wanting change year after year? Get close to someone that does not miss. Get close to someone that does not break. Learn everything, extract everything from him, and become the person. Become the person that you admire and give that person to the world. If you want me to help you directly and want me to help you become the who, or want me to help you create a meaningful personal brand to impact millions of people the same way I have, if this sounds like you, let's get to work. I'm waiting for you.